Good morning. Welcome to episode 86 of the Driller Newscast, a weekly update on the news and stories impacting the drilling and water industry. I'm your host, Brock Yorty. In industry, we made it. It's Thanksgiving week. Let's make sure we got our people thinking about being smart and safe as we roll into Thursday and Friday. If it's thinking about, man, can we have a Lions win? Or what is she going to spend on Friday? Tell you what I'm thankful for in industry, and that is our show sponsor, TDH Manufacturing. TDH pump hoists are built to work as hard as you do, with the latest technology to deliver the power and precise handling required on today's job sites. TDH will provide superior performance and unmatched versatility day in and day out. We're going to jump right to our feature, which is a discussion with Dave Schulenberg, Executive Director of the 7 partner states that the National Groundwater Association supports and our awesome Groundwater Association community. However, I brought Dave on because Wednesday at 9:45 a.m. of the National Groundwater Convention, just before the show floor opens, Dave will be signing his book, Mr. Mouse Gets a Well. This is an excellent book. I got to have a sneak peek of it. It is a wonderful primer for all of those folks out there that have private water wells or wonder about the necessities of having a private water well. And for us in the industry and our children, it is a great way for them to feel empowered and hear a story about getting a well and being able to advocate for the industry. Beyond that, we're going to talk about what we're thankful for, and that is that this industry is full of awesome professionals, not only the ones standing on the platform turning the bit to the right, but those that are supporting and helping promote and advocate. And I'm just so excited about this. Let's jump right into our discussion with Dave Schulenberg. For our feature this week, we have my great industry friend and knowledge sharer and executive director for the partner states. How many states now, Dave?
7 as of today.
7.
7 states, that's correct, are part of the NGWA partner states program.
And so, being that it's Thanksgiving week, and we're dang thankful to have excellent executive directors like Dave, but we have a bigger discussion today that I'm so excited about because from the first time my children were introduced to Mr. Mouse, which there's such a wonderful, warm story to how this story became a story.
Yeah.
NGWA on Wednesday at 9:45.
Correct.
The world debut in the bookstore, along with the creator, the heart and soul, the writer, Dave, will be presenting Mr. Mouse Gets a Well.
That's correct. That is correct. Thank you, Brock. That's very kind to say. You have been along on this journey and were kind of the instigator of me doing what's turned out to be a prequel to an original children's story I told my kids 20 some years ago. And that's The Adventure of Mr. Mouse. And that one's available on Amazon. But this one here came out of a conversation between you and I, a year and a half, 2 years ago, about we should do something, or you should do something, Dave, industry related with this story. And I thought about that and I, pondered it and whatnot. And one day sat down and, of all things, at Midway Airport on a layover, came up with the fact that Mr. Mouse needs a well. And it turned into a prequel, but it also is a story about what our industry professionals go through written for their kids, their grandkids, their great grandkids, whatever. But it boils down to the fact that there are very few books that talk about the process of getting a water well. And there are so many individuals in this country that need good groundwater, that don't have access to good groundwater, or don't understand where groundwater comes from for a water well. And this story really talks about, as a professional, dad, grandpa, mom go out and what they do, and the process, not just of, oh, I punched a hole in the ground, now you get your water, got a big loud rig, and that's it. But it talks about you run out of water, you need water, you have to wait for water. When you get the water, you can't drink it right away because it has to be tested. And it just kind of walks through there. And I reached out to my high school best friend to do the artwork for it. So this is a collaboration that, again, resprouted friendship with my high school best friend. And it's just a fantastic work of art as well. So it's been fun to work with my friend Mark Poe again.
It's such one, if you could roll back just a little bit,
Yeah.
your mouse started as a bedtime story that you just long story form improvised, right?
Yeah, I every night, Mr. Mouse. It started out as a story for my girls, as I said, and night one was I started making up a story off the top of my head about Mr. Mouse and where he lived, and I would end the story that night on a little cliffhanger. What's going to happen tomorrow, Dad? Well, we got to wait and find out. I had no clue. Okay, where do we leave off? Okay, well, this happened, and it turns out that Mr. Mouse goes through the process of going on an adventure. That's always been a big deal in our family, is taking life every day as an adventure. You don't know what's going to happen. It's an adventure. Life is an adventure. And so that with Mr. Mouse, and he goes through it every chapter. If you read it one night, it'd take you 10 days, but you also, then the kids can dream about it. What's going to happen? What happens next? That kind of thing. Mr. Mouse has got a really strong friend, probably his number one friend out in California. And she suggested that Mr. Mouse should have a girl. There should be a girl, Mr. Mouse. And so I'm not quite sure how to incorporate that into the next story, if there is going to be one, but Peyton, we're going to work on that. So I don't know if you're watching or not, but we'll see what Mr. Mouse happens with Mr. Mouse and a girl. Like I said, I just don't know quite how to edit that into it. So
Mr. Mouse and the Yorty family is a big deal. There's two books that seem to continually make circulation, and the one reads in one night, and then we get back to Mr. Mouse, and now the kids, they know that we're about to go meet the next friend and how important
that's
blueberries
correct.
are.
That's
And
correct.
all of these great things. And the other book is ironically Dig Dogs Dig, which is
Dig.
about building a park as quickly as possible and the things they hit. And I will say a whirlwind versus the adventure that we get with Mr. Mouse. And then I got a little sneak peek with my children to introduce them to Mr. Mouse Gets a Well.
Yes.
What I think was so beautiful about this story, one, reading it to my children who know that I'm lucky enough to get to work in this groundwater industry and interact with all of these great professionals. But Mr. Mouse got to tell the story from the customer's perspective about,
Yes.
well, what do you mean you can't just come right out and fix my well, or just the process of finding water is I like to say it's one of the most spiritual things I get to experience, is getting to see water come out of the ground and helping
You're right.
provide that from a higher entity that has allowed us to do it. And it's
Yes.
I love this story.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Brock. It's been fun to share that with you and to get your feedback, and more importantly, the professionals in your house, your kids, to make sure that it reads correctly, and that I have it as accurate as possible. Not being a contractor myself, but being in this industry for 20 some years, and working with you, with other professionals, as well as with programs such as the Groundwater Foundation's Water Well Wish. program, and how that can be on it, and the foundation itself, the awesome aquifer kits, and really working to try and educate from a young age where we get our groundwater, where we get our drinking water. Yes, there are areas in the country where it's surface, but a majority of it is groundwater, and a majority of our members and professionals in this industry bring it out of the ground.
It is. It's as much fun as my children have had. They've said when this comes out, Dad, and you come back from NGWA, we need one for Sloan and we need one for Miles. And they've already planned Christmas gifts out of this book because
Wonderful.
it's there's only 43 million Americans with private water wells. Though groundwater touches everything, we're a very proud industry.
Yes.
It's less than 15% of our voting population.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, those are some powerful numbers, and the book will be available as you mentioned earlier at the bookstore right before the show floor opens up. So 9:45 to 11. I will be happy to put my signature on a book for you after it's purchased, or even dedicate it to somebody within your family too. It's all about education. It's all about having fun and really enjoying life's adventure.
So I got one fun question for you and one
Sure.
tough question. Which one do you want first?
Let's go with the fun one first.
Okay, you're doing a book signing. Um, have you worked on your patented Dave signature? What does that look like? Because there are times that Dom Durbin once handed me one of the last copies of National Driller and said, "Sign it for me." And I'm like, I'm a driller. I have the worst handwriting in the world.
When I was in high school, I had a summer job working at a farm implement company, and I had to go and run parts in an old Chevy S10, and so go pick up a flywheel, go pick this up from all these different places around the town I grew up in. And when I started, I had a signature of the old cursive, the D with the big, and it's David Schulenberg, for crying out loud. It's not like it's Al Smith. Al, you got a great name for an autograph, Al Smith. But this was David Schulenberg. Well, it turned out that I go by Dave, but my signature is still David Schulenberg. And you're going to have to wait to see how this thing is kind of legible. But I started signing it so fast that it has a big G under it that goes all the way back. And so it's a unique signature. My dad, who's got, unique penmanship as well, said, "That okay, I can see it." So yeah, you'll have to wait. It's a flurry. So having a last name of Schulenberg really makes it a challenge some days for a signature.
I love it. All right, you ready for the tough one?
All right, tough question. Sure.
Okay. 7 states, executive director running
Yeah.
all of these shows. And I love how you say, 20 years in this industry, but not, as a driller. And before I ask this question, industry, I need to challenge you with this thought.
Yeah.
Just because we're not all spinning rods to the right and making whole doesn't mean that there are crucial key partners and people that are just as core, like Dave, like Terry, like many of the folks that help drive the rest of it, not different from mom or grandma, or
No,
maybe mom's on the rig and dad's back at the shop doing marketing and business. But we're all one group. We can't all get to pull the levers. If we had everybody just pulling the levers, there'd be way too many egos, and boy, would
you're
we
right.
get in trouble.
You're right. At the You always see industry awards recognizing the driller of the year, the contractor of the year, the business of the year, the whatever that title might be of that award. But one of the things that I've tried to incorporate in some of my annual meetings, banquets, dinners, membership meetings, whatever, is to recognize the other individuals that are part of making this a profession, of being a professional. I think it was Webtrawl, I think, had a great image that talked about being a groundwater professional, and it brings up terms of hydrology, geology, plumbing, licensure, education, and so forth. But you do make a good point there that yes, I'm not on the back of a rig, but I do consider myself a groundwater professional from the administrative side, from the knowledge base side. You are a groundwater professional for all that you do and bring to the industry. The office help, whether you call it the spouse, the lady, the programs, all of those individuals are groundwater professionals within this industry, as well as the individual that is staying home, making sure that when the contractor or whoever comes home, they are not forgotten either. And so it is the spouse, the wife, the children are all part of this groundwater industry and are all part of this profession and should all be recognized as professionals as well. And part of what this, going back to Mr. Mouse Gets a New Well, is he recognizes that he's got to go with a professional. And the workers that come out are as a professional. A couple of years ago, I did a talk that talked about, digger, driller, groundwater professional, which one are you? And the more we can continue to elevate through our participation in state shows, through our association, both nationally and at the state level, continues to elevate our opportunity to speak on this topic, to learn the skills to go and talk to legislatures on a grassroots level or at a fly-in level, or to mirror that state or that national fly-in at the state level and go to your state capital. An elected official, whether it's Republican or Democrat, they're just like you. They talk about what they're positive or that they know about. You all, us, we as groundwater professionals can stand up and talk about what it is that we know about and what we're professionals on just as much as anybody else. And that's really what I try and make sure that I can continue to share with the members of each of these states, both in the partner state program or within the affiliate state program.
So I'm going to leave you with this question of what you're thankful for. And I'm going to say what I'm thankful for first of this industry coming into Thanksgiving. So I'm not putting you on the spot.
All right.
And I am thankful for exactly what you just hit upon. I believe in my heart that stepping off the platform and stepping away from the platform is a very hard thing to do in our industry, but it is just as critical as being able to make that wonderful resource come out of the ground so that we can provide for life and for all aspects of our civilization. And I'm just going to shout out, I am thankful for Lisa at the Maryland Groundwater and Christina in Virginia.
Yeah.
And John Freitag with Illinois Groundwater Alliance or Geothermal Alliance. And you can look across this industry at these professionals who are driving major things. Tucker, the executive director of the Georgia Groundwater Professionals Association, helped his group come together and pass a law that allowed, if you have 1 acre of land or more, you can have a private water well in the state of Georgia. There's only 2 other states that are allowing that right now. And we're seeing this come across. So there's so much we have to do in order to continue to progress our industry as professionals. And that's what I'm thankful for coming into Thanksgiving. And I'm really thankful for the Lions. And sorry, they're Minnesota.
There you go. Yeah. I'm thankful as a Vikings fan that there's maybe another glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel this year. It's an emotional ride every year as a Vikings fan. And it's fun to see the Lions doing so well again. As a kid, I was a Lions fan. I grew up in Flint, and so they were my team. But as you mentioned, I have been blessed, Brock, really in this industry to know and to meet so many wonderful professionals, whether they have stepped up and done something at a national level, Jeff Williams, Buddy Sebastian, David Henrik, or whether they have served on the board and then stepped off. I have met so many wonderful board members, and I always have a fond memory of each of my first presidents, whether it's Ray Renner or uh, Doug Askin in Montana. Those first presidents that always leave that lasting impression and those friendships with it. Also with the state agency people. Right now in the background, I hear my son-in-law picking up my granddaughter, and I'm thankful for her, and those relationships that are built. And I'm thankful for my wife, who has graciously understood that, yeah, I got to go multiple times a year to meetings and to events, as well as this industry. It has brought a lot of education, and I learned something new every day. And I just learned something new the other day with a tour of Johnson Screens. So um, I am thankful, hand over fist. And one of the last things I'm thankful for is I get to go down to a farm, some land next week, and see what I can do to bring home some meat for the freezer.
Maybe you'll run into Mr. Mouse.
I've got a video that I've shown a couple times, and I do see Mr. Mouse running up a tree on my trail cam. So I'm thankful for him as well. And if he leaves me a little present in my deer stand, I know he's around there somewhere by a great big tree.
I appreciate your time today, Dave.
Hey,
And
anytime. I love talking with you, Brock. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you and all the other groundwater professionals down in Vegas at Groundwater Week for the 75th anniversary. And I wish every one of you a blessed Thanksgiving and a holiday season.
thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for joining us for episode 86 of the Driller Newscast. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We are just 2 more episodes away from being at the National Groundwater Conference and the International Ground Source Heat Pump Conference in Vegas. So excited to be there. Let's talk. Let's talk about what we need out of this industry. Let's talk about successes. Let's talk about failures. Let's talk about what we do in 2024 to be better professionals than we are today. I want you to think about all the individuals it takes for us to be this great industry. And I'm happy that Dave was able to give us some insight into that. Again, I can't stress enough. Let's make sure our people are focused for work today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, however that turns out. It's easy for us to get distracted, and then we have those bad failures. And again, thank you to our show sponsor who has sponsored many episodes over the year. We can't bring the news and have the great discussions we have without great sponsors like TDH Manufacturing, who continues to push the envelope and innovate. Thank you again, Scott and Cade and team. Go to their website, check it out. There's a great video that they have out right now showing their manufacturing process and what it takes to be an innovator. If you want to do something right by your people that are pulling pumps, check out these units and see all the value and impact they can have positively to your business. Thanks again, TDH. Go out, be safe. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll all be in person in just a few weeks.